So, nothing new there. Basically, uh, America in the early days was a bunch of we were a bunch of alcoholics. We needed our liquor, uh, and so apples were a great way of doing it. Uh, Most apples, weren't great to eat. The apple indigenous to the United States was a crab apple, right? But so we basically turned everything into drinking, right? And then that myth or the Johnny Appleseed sort of factor will turn around during Prohibition, and then all of a sudden the apple will be sold as something that's supposed to make you healthy and stuff like that. Here it talks about how apples are, the idea of grafting. This is how you can plant apples and domesticate them. Okay, so they not true from seed, right? He'll go on with this, and then he'll go back into the Johnny Appleseed story, right? And try to break down the myth as he tries to sort of expose the science of it. Okay, so it's an interesting way that he tries to do this, right? It's definitely a storytelling way, and you want to juxtapose it with the way Darwin does it. Darwin is science first, story second. Pollen is story first, science second. And considering all the misconceptions about evolution and natural selection and the fights that we still have about it, do you think Pollen's way of doing it is better than Darwin's? Is something to consider. All right, and then he keeps on moving here throughout this chapter, so I won't go over everything here. Um, but in this chapter, he basically sets up, a lot of the structure that he's just going to come up to again and back in the text. So I'll just highlight this part near the end of the chapter. He brings in this Nietzschean idea. So Nietzsche is I don't know if I've mentioned him before in class, but he is a German philosopher who comes up with this Dionysian versus Apollonian type dialectic that operates within human civilization and the human mind. So the Dionysian is our desire for intoxication, irrationality, and the Apollonian is our desire for order and rationality. And so that struggle sort of works out always between us. And so Pollen, in a very clever way, sort of shows how the apple sort of mediates that function, that aspect of our humanity, right? And because it's able to manipulate that, you know, uh, in a way, it's able to adapt and evolve. And so that's the story.